What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Cosmic Wonder. I'm your host, Warren, and we have a lot of Marvel news to go over today, but we're going to start with what I think is the best news, the funniest news, and quite frankly, expected news. It's expected in only a way that Ryan Reynolds could do and only could do in Deadpool 3. Some of you might have caught my video on Kevin Feige's reaction to what he has seen so far for Deadpool and Wolverine. If you didn't catch that video, don't worry. Basically, all you need to know is he thinks it's amazing. So much that he wants Deadpool and Wolverine director Shawn Levy to go on to direct other MCU projects. That's how impressed he was with Deadpool 3 and with director Shawn Levy. And as it turns out, Kevin Feige spent quite a bit of time on set for Deadpool and Wolverine. And this kind of made it to where he is going to indirectly be a part of Deadpool 3. He's actually going to be the target of many jokes in Deadpool and Wolverine. And this is confirmed by a Deadpool cast member. This is also an incredible turning point for the MCU. The fact that Kevin Feige was on set so much, this is a part of Marvel Studios' new plan, and the fact that Bob Iger is now on board with Marvel Studios producing less content and allowing them to focus on movies more than Disney Plus shows is what allowed Kevin Feige to finally give a lot of his time to this certain project. We'll talk about that, but first, let's talk about how Kevin Feige is going to be in Deadpool 3 to be made fun of by Ryan Reynolds and possibly other people as well. Collider recently interviewed Karan Soni, who plays Dopinder in all three Deadpool films, and the article is literally titled, "Deadpool and Wolverine is full of Kevin Feige jokes," says Karan Soni. And this is actually a really cool interview. He talks a lot about what it was like on set. He pointed out that Deadpool's MCU debut is good for both parties. For Disney, it is a chance to revitalize their superhero franchise after films like The Marvels and Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania underperformed at the box office, while Ryan Reynolds and company get a chance to work with Feige and play around with the very fabric of the new universe they now inhabit. This is what he had to say. "I can say that I think it'll be really good. This movie, and from my little experience of my part in it, it's definitely Ryan's taking full advantage of the MCU and playing with all the toys. It also feels like it's coming at a perfect time for the MCU because it's ready for a little bit of a shakeup, and he's definitely shaking it up. And so I think this is great that it's coming at this time, and they're very willing to make fun of themselves, which is important. And I got to meet Kevin Feige, and I was surprisingly starstruck. I was a little bit like, oh my gosh, it's him, which I was surprised that I was, but it's very cool to see those minds together. Side note, when I met Kevin Feige the first time, I was definitely this way, was really starstruck with him. But he continues to say, "You know, Kevin's obviously completely changed the industry, and then Ryan, who's such a genius like them, combining their powers is pretty exciting." And from here it says Deadpool and Wolverine, Deadpool 3, will take plenty of cracks at Feige. And as it turns out, Kevin Feige was very much okay for it. He was for it. He was for Ryan Reynolds breaking the fourth wall and making jokes about Kevin Feige. And that's why Kevin Feige is the GOAT. He is willing to do what it takes to make a good Marvel and Deadpool film. And Sony talked about this. He continued to say, "It was just like, this one was so different for me because we didn't get a script or anything. It was very secretive. And so we were just in this. I got the scene like the day before or whatever, and we walked into the soundstage and he just appeared next to Hugh Jackman. And I was just like, I don't know what's happening." It was very crazy, but he was very sweet, very kind. He came up and said hi to all of us from the original movies and stuff, and he seemed excited himself by what was happening. And then Ryan is definitely calling him out a lot at the moment. There's a lot of Kevin jokes in the movie. You have to have a good sense of humor, and he does. So that's cool. And yeah, it is super cool. It's really cool that, one, Ryan Reynolds is willing to make these jokes. That's what really Ryan Reynolds himself and Deadpool the character are about. But if you take a look at the current state of the MCU and what a lot of people have been saying, it would make sense that Deadpool would crack a lot of jokes. And who else would he crack jokes about than the person who is at really the heart of it all, the president of Marvel Studios, Kevin Feige. Plus, not to mention, we have heard in the film, in the trailer, Deadpool call himself Marvel Jesus, calling himself the savior of Marvel. And a lot of people really do believe that that is true. So expect plenty of Deadpool savior jokes, plenty of Kevin Feige jokes, and just jokes about the MCU overall. I'm sure he'll take cracks at Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Scarlett Johansson. I'm sure nobody is safe in this movie. And some important points here that really do matter. One is that they did a really good job at keeping most of Deadpool 3 a secret. Yes, there is that one scene where they are in what we believe to be the Void from Loki, where we saw Pyro and we see the 20th Century Fox logo in the background. That's really the only scene that has truly been leaked, at least on camera, that we've got from this movie. Everything else was shot inside, and with the exception of some cameos that are rumored to appear in the movie and who the villain is, a lot of it has been kept fairly quiet. Now, we've had some reports on what it could be, but it's not like Multiverse of Madness, where right before the film came out, we got some released pictures of the Illuminati. And this is how Marvel Studios, I think, is going to be moving forward. A part of their new plan is also going to be trying to prevent a lot of spoilers from going out. But I think the most important thing here is that Kevin Feige is really more involved again with the MCU. Bob Iger confirmed that the Marvel executives, and Kevin Feige is included in that, were spread really, really thin over the past few years. Marvel Studios was just trying to do too much. They were already doing more movies per year than they've ever done before, and on top of that, they were now producing a lot of Disney Plus content, which they had never done before. So of course, the Marvel executives and Kevin Feige himself were spread pretty thin, and that led to the lack of supervision, as Bob Iger said, on these projects, which led to less quality for the projects. In fact, that's why Bob Iger said the Marvels wasn't that good or didn't perform that well, because it didn't have a lot of executive supervision. Well, that has changed now, and now it's actually a pretty big focus for Marvel Studios. In fact, with the whole Sony Marvel debate recently over Spider-Man 4, Sony wanted Spider-Man to come out in the middle of 2025, and Kevin Feige said he didn't want that because one, he'd have to push some projects around, but two, he would be spread too thin with all of the projects because they would be too close together. He wouldn't have enough time to dedicate the proper amount of time that he would need to for the film to supervise it. This is very important to him. He wants to be involved with all of these projects, and he wants to be involved more than he has been the past few years. And of course, as the president of Marvel Studios and the person who started the MCU, he should be. And this interview tells us that he was on set quite a bit. And again, recent reports have told us that he was on set a lot to see what they were doing, and he was so impressed with Deadpool 3 that he wants director Shawn Levy to continue to work for Marvel Studios. So Kevin Feige is making sure that the quality is really good with the projects, and if he finds somebody who is producing good quality, he wants to keep them around. That is a great sign for the future of the MCU. Plus, not to mention, Kevin Feige is trusting Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman, and Shawn Levy. He trusted them to make a good movie. He jumped in every now and then to see how it was going, and at the end, it turned out amazing. That is what we need from now on in the MCU, and that is exactly what they are doing. So I really do believe that Deadpool 3, Deadpool and Wolverine is going to be a pretty big turning point for the MCU. I think it's going to have massive success, while on top of that being an incredible movie, and I think that's going to be the standard for Marvel Studios moving forward. I don't think they're going to want to produce anything else that is not up to that standard. And that is why they're taking the time to rewrite a ton of scripts and reshoot entire series, basically talking about Daredevil in this case, and the rewrites with Blade and Captain America and the Thunderbolts. They're just doing what they need at this point to make everything better, and I'm here for it. But let me know what you think about this epic news in the comments down below. Ryan Reynolds, Deadpool, and other characters are going to take their shots at Kevin Feige in Deadpool and Wolverine, and I can't wait to hear what they say. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on all the recent MCU news. And if you subscribe and leave a comment, you're entered in our giveaway for a chance to win a PS5, an Xbox Series X, or some Marvel Legends items. The winner gets to pick one item, and we pick one winner at the end of each month. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter, and as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.